What if I told you that everything you believe is real is nothing more than a well-rehearsed play? That your ambitions, your fears, your very identity are just reflections of a deep conditioning so well designed that you do not even realize you are trapped? You do not think for yourself. You repeat. You do not truly choose. You obey. And the worst part, you believe you are free. But then, who are you? An awakened being, or simply another character in a script written even before you were born? Jiddu Krishnamurti was one of the few who shouted what no one wants to hear. Life is an illusion, and only those who are truly alive realize it. Everything around you, society, relationships, the rules you follow without questioning, is part of a grand trick. But if everything is an illusion, there is one question few dare to ask. Is there anything that is real? If you have the courage, keep watching until the end. If not, you can return to your bubble. Imagine waking up one day and discovering that everything you have lived until now was a lie. Your dreams, your fears, your identity, none of it came from you. They were placed there, programmed, molded, inserted into your mind like invisible software. Since childhood, you were taught to obey before questioning, to accept before doubting. The world imposed beliefs, values, and rules on you as absolute truths. But who said they are truths? Who defined that success is money? That love is possession? That happiness is having things? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself if you truly chose any of this? Society is a perfect theater, a large stage where everyone plays their part, without realizing that they never wrote their own script. And when someone deviates, when someone dares to step out of the script, what happens? They are silenced, ridiculed, called crazy. Krishnamurti saw this with brutal clarity. He said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And yet, we remain adjusted. We keep running, competing, consuming, seeking approval as if life had a final goal, an invisible trophy that no one knows exactly what it is. But what if all of this is an illusion? Think of those who spent their entire lives chasing something and, upon reaching it, found only emptiness. The businessman who sacrificed everything to be rich and discovers that money does not fill the void. The artist who dreamed of fame and, upon conquering it, feels lonelier than ever. The couple who marry thinking they found a happy ending and then get trapped in a meaningless routine. Why? Because they lived inside the illusion. Because they believed in the promise that is never fulfilled. Krishnamurti does not soften it. The human mind is corrupted by the illusion of the self. You are not free. You are a product of your culture, your family, your religion, your history. You are a construct. And everything you believe is true may just be the reflection of an invisible prison. But if everything is an illusion, is there anything real? This is what we are going to start unveiling. Have you ever wondered who you truly are? Before answering, think about this. When you were born, your mind was a blank page. There was no name, no nationality, no religion, no ideology, no tastes, no beliefs. You were nothing, just a pure, free being, without labels. But then, they started teaching you. They told you your name, your nationality, your religion, what is right, and what is wrong. They told you what to believe in, what to dream of, what to fear. And little by little, you started to become this construct, without realizing it. You were programmed to identify with something that was not born with you. Now tell me, if all this was instilled in you, who are you without these influences? Krishnamurti got straight to the point. You think freely, but your thoughts are only reflections of the society in which you were created. And this is brutal, because if your thought is not yours, your desires are not yours either. You want what you were taught to want. You seek happiness in the same places you were told to look. Money, success, love, status, without even asking yourself if that really fills anything inside you. Now, look at your life. Every decision you have made, was it really yours? The clothes you wear, the job you chose, the person you are with, the way you see yourself in the mirror. Did you choose it, or was it chosen for you? The human mind cannot tolerate the void. So, to avoid the anguish of not knowing who it is, it clings to prefabricated identities. And so we continue, wearing masks, living within labels, acting in roles we do not even know if they make sense. And do you know the saddest thing? Even when we realize it, we are afraid to abandon that illusion. Because, without it, who would we be? Society teaches us to run away from silence, from solitude, from the absence of stimuli. Have you noticed that we always need something to distract us? Cell phone, music, empty conversations, social media? Because if we remain silent for too long, maybe we will realize what we do not want to see. That behind everything there is an immense void. Krishnamurti said that the only way to find the truth is to go through that void without fear. But most people do not want that. They prefer the comforting illusion. They prefer to believe that they are their ideas, their opinions, their history, because the truth is scary. Arthur Schopenhauer, another great thinker, had an even darker vision. For him, life is suffering, and the full consciousness of it leads to despair. He said that the human being is condemned to eternally desire something that will never satisfy him. But Krishnamurti went a step further. The problem is not desiring. The problem is believing that we are that desire. Now, think about this. If everything you believe you are was taught to you, then what remains when all that disappears? Who are you without your name? Who are you without your memories? Who are you without your beliefs? If these questions make you uncomfortable, congratulations. You are starting to see the bars of the prison. The question now is, do you have the courage to step out of it? Have you ever wondered why the truth is never taught? From childhood, we are taught to read, write, do math. But no one teaches us to truly think. No one teaches us to look inward and ask, who am I? What am I doing here? Does life have a purpose, or is it just an empty cycle of being born, working, and dying? This is not a coincidence. This is control. Krishnamurti said, the whole social structure is based on fear. Fear is the root of obedience. Now, stop and think. What drives your life? The fear of losing money, the fear of not being accepted, the fear of failure, the fear of loneliness, the fear of death. Fear controls everything. It defines how we behave, what we choose, who we become. And society knows this. That is why we are bombarded by fear all the time. Governments use fear to keep us obedient. Religions use fear to keep us submissive. The market uses fear to make us consume. Culture uses fear to make us fit into patterns. Now, think about what happens when you question this. When a person starts to see beyond the illusion, the world reacts as if it were a threat, because that is what it becomes. The system does not need conscious people. It needs conforming people. Awakening to the truth is not comfortable. The truth is dangerous. It destroys everything you thought you knew. That is why most people prefer the illusion. They prefer to live with a comfortable lie rather than face a brutal reality. Krishnamurti warned, true freedom is not in choosing between limited options, but in seeing that the very need to choose is an illusion. What does this mean? That from the moment you were born, all your choices were manipulated. You think you decide, but you have already been conditioned to choose within a closed system. Now, look at history. What happened to Socrates, who challenged the mindset of society? He was condemned to death. What happened to Galileo, who questioned the dominant view of the universe? He was silenced and persecuted. What happens today to anyone who exposes uncomfortable truths? They are ridiculed, attacked, discredited. The system does not need to kill you. It only needs to turn you into a madman in the eyes of others. After all, who is going to believe someone who says everything is an illusion? Who is going to take seriously someone who claims that the life we lead is a play, and that we spend years playing a character without knowing it? But what if that person is right? What if, at this very moment, you are so deeply asleep that you do not even perceive the chains that bind you? What would you do if you truly saw the truth? Most people, upon perceiving the illusion, react in two ways. They despair because they realize that everything they built was false. They return to the illusion because the void of absolute freedom is terrifying. Schopenhauer said that man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. This means that our will is not ours. It was shaped even before we were born. So, I ask again, what remains when you realize that everything has been manipulated? If you have made it this far, congratulations. You have already seen the prison door. But now comes the hardest part. Do you have the courage to cross it? The truth hurts. It hurts because it destroys. It hurts because when you see it, there is no turning back. Imagine spending your whole life believing you are walking towards something. A purpose, a reward, an end that makes it all worthwhile. But one day, you discover there is nothing at the end of the road. What do? Arthur Schopenhauer believed that this revelation leads to despair. For him, life is suffering. We are born with desires that will never be fully satisfied. We spend our days seeking pleasure and fleeing pain, only to discover that any joy is fleeting and that suffering always returns. He said, "Life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. This means that we are either suffering for something we want and do not have, or we are bored by something we have already achieved and which no longer satisfies us." Now look at your own life. Have you noticed how this curse repeats itself all the time? You want money, you get some, but it is never enough. You want a relationship, you find someone, but then you miss freedom. You want success, you work hard, but when you get there, you realize you are still not satisfied. The human being is a prisoner of desire, never complete, never at peace. For Schopenhauer, the only way out was to renounce desires, live with the minimum possible, and accept that life has no purpose beyond suffering. But Krishnamurti saw this prison differently. For him, it is not life that is suffering, it is the mind that suffers. He said that the problem does not lie in the desires themselves, but in the fact that we believe we are our desires. When we want something desperately, we suffer because we are afraid of not getting it. When we get it, we suffer because we are afraid of losing it. When we lose it, we suffer because we feel empty. What if the problem is not life, but the way we have been conditioned to see it? Krishnamurti said, "There is no path to truth. Truth is a state of fearless perception." And while Schopenhauer saw existence as an inevitable curse, Krishnamurti offered another vision. The illusion of the self can dissolve. The big question is suffering something inherent to life, as Schopenhauer believed, or is it just an illusion created by the mind, as Krishnamurti said? Most people cannot tolerate this conversation. The idea that there is no purpose, that everything we seek is a mental construct, is overwhelming. Look around you. See how many people run away from silence, from solitude, from full consciousness. That is why there is so much entertainment, so much consumption, so much distraction. Because when someone stops to reflect, the abyss opens. Schopenhauer said that the full consciousness of the truth leads to absolute pessimism. Krishnamurti, on the other hand, saw this as the only path to liberation. The difference between the two? Schopenhauer saw the illusion and despaired. Krishnamurti saw the illusion and smiled. Schopenhauer saw life as a nightmare we cannot wake up from. Krishnamurti saw life as a dream that, upon realizing it is a dream, we can start living for real. Now, I ask you, whose side are you on? If everything you have lived until now has been an illusion, do you choose to keep sleeping, or are you ready to wake up? The choice is yours. The human brain is a machine of deception. It does not seek the truth, it seeks security. Science has already shown that the mind is a great filter. It does not see the world as it truly is, but as it needs it to be to maintain sanity. Since childhood, every experience, every belief, every fear creates neural circuits that shape your perception of reality. You do not see the world objectively, you see it through the lenses of your conditioning. Now, Imagine this. You are walking down the street and you see someone looking at you. Your mind instantly creates a story. They are judging me. They must be thinking something bad about me. Maybe there is something weird on my face. But the truth might be simple. Perhaps that person was just distracted, lost in their own thoughts. This is living proof that we do not react to reality. We react to our interpretations of reality. And what did Krishnamurti say? The greatest of illusions is to believe that we think freely. Science confirms it. Neuroscience studies show that our decisions are made even before we are conscious of them. The brain already decides, and only later creates the illusion that we were the ones who chose. That is, your identity, your history, your pain, your desires. All of this may just be a set of automatic mental patterns. If this is true, the final question is, how to escape this? Krishnamurti did not believe in gurus, teachers, or systems. He said that the only possible revolution is the inner revolution. Modern science confirms it. Neuroplasticity shows that the brain can be reprogrammed. If your mind is a prison built by years of conditioning, then the only way to free yourself is to dismantle that prison brick by brick. But how to do this? First, observe your own mind without judging. Krishnamurti said, "Observation without choice is the greatest of all learning." This means that instead of fighting your thoughts and emotions, you must simply observe them. For example, when you feel fear, anger, envy, or desire, stop for a moment and just observe. Where did this feeling come from? Who put it there? Is it really yours, or was it implanted? Neuroscience confirms that mindfulness can reprogram the brain. When you observe your thoughts without reacting, you weaken the automatic patterns that control your life. Second, question everything you believe is true. Since childhood, you learn that some things are good and others are bad. But who defined this? Krishnamurti said that every belief is a form of prison. The only way to discover the truth is not to blindly believe in anything, not what I say, nor what anyone else says. Science calls this critical thinking, the ability to question information before accepting it. Few people do it. Most simply absorb what they are taught without investigating. So ask yourself, what in my life is really mine, and what was imposed? 3. Abandon the search for security. Krishnamurti said, "The desire for security is the root of fear." Society teaches us that we must seek stability, a good job, a secure marriage, saved money, absolute certainties. But life is not stable. Everything constantly changes. Science shows that the brain hates uncertainty, as it activates the fear centers. But when we train the mind to accept the unknown, something surprising happens. Anxiety decreases, and the brain adapts. This means that, instead of fighting the flow of life, we must learn to flow with it. 4. Accept the void. It is your freedom. This is the hardest step. The mind seeks to be filled. We are always desiring something: success, recognition, love, happiness. But what if true freedom lay in wanting nothing? Schopenhauer saw the void as a curse. For him, realizing that life has no meaning was an unbearable weight. But Krishnamurti saw the void as the portal to true freedom. When you stop seeking an external purpose, a meaning imposed by society, religion, or the ego, life becomes light. Science confirms it. Elevated states of consciousness, such as those reached by experienced meditators, show that when the mind is freed from the illusion of the self, a deep sense of peace and fullness arises. Now think, what if the peace you seek has always been there, hidden by all the illusions they taught you? You have made it this far. You have seen the illusion dismantled. You have realized that your identity, your desires, your fears, all of this may just be a mental game. Now comes the final question. Do you have the courage to let go of all this? There is no promise of eternal happiness. There is no paradise waiting. What there is reality. Unfiltered, without stories, without illusions. And perhaps, just perhaps, that is enough. Krishnamurti said, "Truth is a pathless land. You must discover it for yourself." Now the decision is in your hands. Return to the illusion or cross the portal of consciousness. The choice is yours. By now, you will have realized that reality is not exactly what it seems. You have already sensed that something is wrong with the world, but you never knew exactly what it was. Now you know. We are trapped in an illusion, living a script we never wrote. But here, on this channel, we break that script. Here, you do not receive easy answers. You receive provocations that will challenge everything you believe you know. Nothing here is superficial, nothing here is easy, but the truth was never for the weak. The question is, do you just want to watch, or are you ready to actively participate in this awakening? The choice, as always, is yours.